Unfortunately, monetary profit and control dictates every facet of life, including the very building blocks of humans' most primitive needs, food. Just over 1 million people are dying from starvation on this planet. This is not because of a lack of food, it is because they simply don't have the money to purchase it. Another example of the monetary system's crippling effect on society. It is not about feeding people, it is about maximizing profits. Monsanto is the leading manufacturer and distributor of GMOs. These genetically modified foods are having alarming impacts on the environment and farmers, which goes directly against their mission statement, which reads, Monsanto is an agricultural company. We help farmers grow yields sustainably so they can be successful, produce healthier foods, better animal feeds, and more fibre, while also reducing agriculture's impact on our environment. This is the same Monsanto that produced Agent Orange for the Vietnam War. PCBs, which Monsanto kept the public in the dark about regarding their dangerous effects on the environment, which manipulated scientific research, suppressing opposition, and the revolving door between company and government.
This is the one that really tells you the story. They're saying we can't afford to lose $1 of business. And the truth of the matter is, in most instances, the price these companies pay decades later is a fraction of their profits. And this is why it pays to keep these problems secret. And it makes you wonder what they might be keeping secret now.
Justice Clarence Thomas was a Monsanto attorney. That wouldn't be such a big deal if it weren't for one court case that really decided this whole seed-saving issue. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion in a case that allowed these companies to prevent farmers from saving their own seed.
Monsanto had very close ties to the Bush administration and the Clinton administration.
And this goes to why we haven't had much political debate over this radical change to our food system.
The last 25 years, our government has been dominated by the industries that it was meant to be regulating.
The challenge is sometimes you have people with expertise in industry that may turn out to be really good regulators. It's really about what interests they decide to represent.
You're talking about power. Centralized power, and that power is being used against the people who are really producing the food, like the farmers. It's being used against the workers who work for these companies, and it's being used against consumers who are deliberately being kept in the dark about what they're eating, where it comes from, and what it's doing to their bodies.
This is only one corporation's impact on the environment and our food supply. Nestle, who show great support for Monsanto, are also known for their terrible track record. They now believe water should be privatised and is not a human right. Instead, it is a market to gain profit. They take water from impoverished communities, then sell this bottled tap water to the West. The effects food business has on the environment and nature can be seen globally. The annual slaughter of dolphins in Taiji by Japanese fishermen, the overfishing of the oceans, the inhumane torture of animals and cruel practices by large industry slaughterhouses to save costs of production, the tearing down of the Amazon, the Earth's lungs, for growing soybeans for cattle who are filled with growth hormones to produce cheap, unhealthy fast food. Packing animals so tightly together that they cannot move properly and form all kinds of defects and disease which can also affect humans. And still there is over 1 billion people on the earth today starving. This isn't mentioning the people struggling to pay for food or with terrible nutrition.
In fact, there's over 1.5 times more food on the planet than we need for every man, woman, and child. Even Josette Sheehan of the World Food Program admitted at the height of the food crisis that the problem wasn't lack of food. There's plenty of food. People couldn't afford it.
There has been another death on our roads tonight. Again. What has our government done to stop crashes on our roads? Bring in new laws which penalise people, more speed cameras. Car crash ads to enforce more fear into the public. What has this done to stop one vehicle from hitting another vehicle? Nothing. Just making more money. What has stopped the loss of life and sudden destruction of families from an accident on the roads across the world? What has changed about the huge carbon pollution created by the burning of fossil fuels in cars? Tax. How does that stop carbon produced from consumption? What kind of science is that? It's just another way to ensure more profit and a flow of money. The alternative would be solar-powered electric cars. Unfortunately, this technology has been pushed aside for years. The first electric cars were being made 100 years ago, in the start of the 20th century. They were also preferred by the public. How much has it advanced in comparison to a Ford Model T to a Bugatti Veyron? It was shut down by oil companies. They hold the patent on the batteries to produce electric vehicles, because profit in this system is monetary, not human well-being. We now go live to our reporter, Claire Doyle.
I'm here outside St James's Hospital where in the early hours of this morning 2 lives were lost in a head-on collision. A 28-year-old man was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle was rushed to hospital in critical condition but later died due to severe head trauma. He is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. This is a tragic time for his family and also for the community who are still in shock. One must ask what can be done in the future to prevent events such as this happening. With the deaths per year in Ireland already at 78 and the deaths per day in Europe a staggering 75, this signifies that something must be done about how we commute. This is a global issue that affects every person's life in a developed country, yet no one has done anything about it. This is Claire Doyle, RTE News. Other transport does exist that might prevent accidents such as this from happening again in the future. The Google car is a completely automated vehicle which relies on GPS and sensors. It has never had an accident. These are actual scientific answers to solving problems. The sensors on the car brakes when another car is too close to act as a safety net. The maglev train is a new technology which uses magnets. It requires less than 2% of the energy of plane travel. It has no wheels and isn't attached to anything, so nothing will wear out. This high-speed efficient transport has been set up in Shanghai. China and South Korea are following suit. But this should have been implemented and developed a long time ago. But the oil companies squash out these ideas. They hold the patents on batteries which are used in electric cars. This stops their development and doesn't allow for open source or reduced prices.